This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of all things wrestling video games. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I'm George Feis, and today we are playing WWE 2K15.
And please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. What is up, my friend George?
Man, oh man, excited to be back again doing another show, but we got to talk about what we played last week before we get into what we're doing this week, John. How are you feeling about SmackDown vs. Raw 2011?
I think the nostalgia goggles came off. It was worthy of the future endeavor. I think it had some of the tones of what we're going to see in the game later today. At least in my brain of, I'm not saying it to that 2K15's a future endeavor just yet, but I think it had some of the same trajectory as that. So we'll see. We'll see as the game takes us away. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Not a lot has changed since the last episode, but you know, there are a lot of SmackDown vs. Raw games. We touched on it last episode. There's basically one for every type of wrestling game fan. There's going to be features and content that, you know, you may love in some, you may not like in others, but that's kind of the great thing about having so many in that series, is that maybe you didn't like 11, but you go back and you could play the first one. You could play Wwe 7. You could play any of the other ones. And, you know, unfortunately, the WWE line of games doesn't last very long, but then you transition into the 2K line, which is still going strong today, and now kind of is in that same boat as the SmackDown vs. Raw series, where now you have a plethora of games under that 2K title license that, you know, you can kind of pick and choose your favorite ones from.
Yeah, and I feel like that's hard to do with a yearly release unless there is like a drastic change or like a roster you really like. So it's going to be cool to see where we're at with 15 here.
Yeah, absolutely. But
now, I wanted to say last week we made our announcement that we'll be closing up shop in a couple weeks. You guys had, I don't know, we felt the love.
Yes.
We had the comments, the messages, people we didn't even know listened to the podcast came out of the woodworks after 5.5 years and were like, no, please don't go. I listen every week. So thank you for that. I hope you enjoy these next, I guess, now 8 weeks of the podcast. So there's a lot. Listen, as George was saying, kind of with the game just now, there's a lot of episodes to go back and listen to. You could start this show over and it'll take you another 5.5 years and you'll pick up something you didn't know the last time. So we hope we could live forever, and that's the intention. So, by the way, I've been having so much fun with Clash Tube Wrestling on YouTube that we are live now with 3 episodes, I believe. I guess at the time of the recording, the 4th one will come out tonight. But I am well into like July of recordings, and I can't stop. Like, it's so much fun.
That's great, man.
Like, it's literally giving me what GMP24 did. But I'm going a little crazy with like the editing.
And you get to do it on your own schedule. You just get to do it like you just said. You're booked out recorded episodes so far in advance because there's not this whole like coordinating between like what works for you, what works for me. Then we do the matches. Then we got to record the commentary. Then we got to do a pay-per-view. Like, it's just, you're sitting down, whatever works best for you. That's the time that you're going to do it.
Which it's been a lot of fun. So go check it out on my YouTube channel at Johnny Clash. And yeah, it's similar to GMP24. I even use the same music. So
there we go. Well, now, John, are you ready to put on those nostalgia goggles and take the deep dive into WWE 2K15?
Let's go.
Guys, if you want your beard to be soft and smell great, then you need Mad Cat Beard Care. Their products are all natural and made to order with vitamins and natural oils to moisturize your skin and to help make your beard healthy and strong.
Our exclusive scent, Play It Forever, is a blood orange, black clove, and vanilla scented beard balm or beard oil that can make your beard have a rich but not overpowering scent. Plus, a portion from their sales go towards finding care for stray cats, covering their medical bills and finding them safe places and forever homes.
Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you place an order over at madcatbeardcare.com. That's 15% off with code GameMarks. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard. All right, WWE 2K15 released October 28th, 2014 for the PS3 and 360, November 18th, 2014 for the PS4 and Xbox One, April 16th on mobile in 2015, and April 28th, 2015 for the PC, developed by Ukes, published by 2K, and other wrestling games in 2014 and 2015. You've got WWE Supercard, 2K for the iOS and Android, WWE Immortals, and 5 Star Wrestling. Man.
That's right. And of course, the 2K games of the respective years. But that's crazy that the PC version came out almost 6 months later. Like, if they planned on yearly releases for the PC, is the new one going to come out on time now 6 months later? And you know that it's 2K, they're going to be charging full price for that game.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. I don't think I ever was aware of that type of delay because I was, still on console.
I was on
back when this came out.
But the PS4 and the Xbox One version were released. They were delayed 3 weeks from the original release. That was to, they gave the whole, we want to fully meet our expectations and have the best game possible. They gave the whole excuse that they usually do, which, hey, we say we respect that. We'd rather you delay the game than put out a game that's broken. Visual concepts, motion captured wrestlers for this over the course of 40 days with the sound of each bump being recorded as well to ensure that it sounds like the actual move rather than the generic mat sound. So I appreciate that attention to detail. This game has 5 times the amount of animation data than the previous game.
Damn.
Michael, and you can kind of tell there's a lot that goes into this game. We played a match as the Wyatt family, and even just Bray Wyatt sitting at ringside, his mannerisms are all spot on. There's so much in here. And I guess being on the PS4 and Xbox One, they were able to.
I would say that next gen hardware, man, paying paying dividends with storage and what you're able to process on the upgraded hardware.
Yeah, pretty cool. Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler recorded new commentary with 30 new hours of commentary for each of them. And the thing is, they put them in a room together and had them record all of this together, like it was actual conversation and like ringside banter like you would see on Monday Night Raw. So hopefully it would make it more natural and feel better. To me, it sounded good. I think I'm just used to it by now because this is what they've been doing. But I didn't see anything that like stood out that spectacular. There was specifics for each wrestler and all that, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, I feel like anytime that there's those little bits of attention to detail, that's what kind of makes those features stand out. Like it's that little bit of extra effort, like you were just saying before about the extra ring mat noises and making sure that it's a more authentic presentation. And commentary, as we know from live wrestling, plays a huge part in telling that story and setting that environment and helping with that immersion. So cool to see that this was a small detail that may have had a large impact for some people on the immersion here. Now, there are some new features in WWE 2K15. This is the first WWE game to be released on PC since WWE Raw back in 2002. That's crazy.
And we played that version too.
Yes, we did.
Now I got to cut you off for 1 second to go back to the motion capture because I was looking up who did the motion capture.
Okay.
Here. These are those pictures that we see all the time of Cesaro and Sami Zayn doing the motion capture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those have definitely made their rounds on the internet.
I see them. I see a bunch of other familiar faces. There's like Paul Heyman, Neville. So they used, I guess, WWE guys for this one, which is pretty cool.
It's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, there's a whole, if you look, just search WWE 2K15 behind the scenes mocap on YouTube, and there's a lot of the making of videos.
Damn. All right. Well, going back to the new features, there is the chain wrestling mini game, which is a rock, paper, scissors style grappling game with the analog stick, which is just you kind of have to find that red sweet spot. The controller vibrates. You hold it there for a little bit, and you transition into the next step of the chain wrestling game. There is
like the UFC games.
Yes.
How you do a submission.
Yes. There is a 3-tier stamina system where wrestlers slow down as their stamina depletes, a revamped submission system with a new circular gauge and simpler button mashing, charged finishers, which combines taunts and finishers into one animation, which is available in the playthrough that John did for us on our YouTube channel.
That was pretty cool.
It was really, it adds like an extra little, not a flourish, but it makes it feel more authentic. Like there are specific animations or specific motions that wrestlers would do before they hit their finisher. So to have that kind of tied into one and not have that first animation set up, maybe be like the wake up taunt or something like that, to have it all combined into one thing was a cool little touch.
Yeah, we saw Batista do his little wind up into the kick for the powerbomb. So
yeah,
cool.
There's also the signature move storage where you can save signatures for later use. Catch and catapult finishers return of these move types for this game, coming back after being left out for a little bit. Improved striking and selling, which is more realistic animations that we touched upon earlier. And you've got realistic fighting styles where wrestlers behave more like their real life counterparts. That also ties into the improved, updated animations. And you have a new roster, which we'll get into, arenas, titles, and additional content, which was, I guess, more enhanced for the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions. But let's get into those match types and into those rosters and arenas, John.
Yeah, let's go through this menu here because we first loaded into the menu and we thought, damn, this looks clean. Everything's kind of like duotoned in blue. And then when you highlight it, the picture like turns color and you scroll over them. It was a nice little time warp into like the Dolph Ziggler, the Shield, and Wyatt family era with the Usos with the face paint. That's what these games are. They're just a time capsule. Like you go back and you're like, damn, this was cool. I remember this era. This is around the time of WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan's running like crazy. CM Punk's on his way out, which we'll also get into a little bit later. Everything's just, it's just, I don't know. It feels good. Like this is kind of where, at least for me, WWE took that 2010, 12 kind of corniness and started shifting back towards the wrestling we love. I mean, it still took a little while to get to there, but this was like kind of the turning point.
Yeah, I think
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's a hard thing to try to put into words, but I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But let's go through these match types here. You have a normal match, Extreme Rules, Falls Count Anywhere, Hell in a Cell, Iron Man, Last Man Standing, No Holds Barred, Steel Cage, Submission, Table, TLC, a casket match, which is only available in showcase mode, which is wild. Tag team, elimination tag, fatal 4-way, 6-man ladder match or Money in the Bank, battle royal, elimination chamber, 30-man Royal Rumble, tournaments which include Gold Rush, tag team, King of the Ring. They excluded handicap matches, inferno matches, I Quit, backstage brawl, special guest referee, and the ladder match is only available in the 6-man, which is nuts.
Wow. That's
what a world,
man.
That's something I kind of remember, like looking for the ladder match and I'm like, huh? Where is it? Can only do it with 6 guys? That's weird.
Yeah, that is
again testing hardware.
Yeah, interesting choice, but yeah, like you said, it's testing.
Yeah. Now, with the match types, I guess we could talk about how this game plays. Like, we just did a playthrough here. We went and we bought the game on eBay, came here in a few days. I put it in the PS4. We got the highest quality we could with the PS4 rather than, I don't know, one of the lesser gen consoles or emulation. So we got the full experience. I thought at first glance, everything looked great. It was refreshing. Everything was bright, and it was all, I guess, modern. It was as close to what we have today as you can get. I mean, it evolved from this. So even though it's 10 years later, it's still pretty damn good. The crowd looked good. The reactions to the entrances look good. I thought the gameplay itself, at least compared to today, and I don't know if my brain's skewed because I play a lot of 2K25 and I've played a lot since, I would say, 2K22. I've played a lot of this game. It's very clunky. It's very slow. It takes you a long time to like move your character around. I was spamming square to punch, and one punch got through 3 seconds later. There's just like a step before you get to something, and I think that takes you out of it a little bit. And I think I felt that in these earlier games a lot, and it makes them not as enjoyable to play. You can't just get up and you're on your way to a move, you're on your way to a reversal, a finisher. There's like 9 steps before you do anything.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's hard to see this game and not compare it to, what we have today. And there is a significant difference in the, like you said, the pacing, the overall. It's not even really the presentation, because like graphics are okay. Like it's a PS4. Everything looks good. Like, sure, there are some little things that are, a slight miss, but like overall presentation is not the issue. It is that, I don't even know if clunky is the right word. It's just there's something that feels slow, and
I don't even think it's
the pacing of the match.
I don't even think it's the pacing. Like, you could say the match is slow. Like, maybe you get up longer or something takes a little longer. The matches take forever. You're trying to run towards your opponent to do a clothesline, and you're still getting up. And you're looking the opposite way on the opposite ropes. You now have to use the left thumbstick to turn all the way around. You might not even be looking in that direction. You guys are running past each other or hitting shoulders, or you're now in the ropes while the other guys. It's just hard to follow. And I remember this is kind of what took me out of these games a little bit back then. There's just you have to work for everything, and it gets so frustrating.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like I want to try to find the perfect word to describe it, but I just can't. I can't think of what it is.
I'm going to go with clunky as my word.
Yeah, no, that might be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I could name a few names of people's matches I've watched that it compares to, but I'm not gonna, because I probably know them. Let's get into these 2K showcases, because this is where they use historical story modes, and you don't just get one like you get today. This was 33 matches across 2 different rivalries, and then there were even DLCs included. So the first one is Hustle, Loyalty, Disrespect, and it covers the John Cena CM Punk feud from 2011 to 2013. And then you get Best Friend, Bitter Enemies, which chronicles Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Now, the DLC, and that's the Evolution era. And of course, you get like the Evolution, Triple H, and the gear and the entrances and all that, just like you do today. The DLC, you get one more match, which is Christian and Randy Orton, from that famous feud where Edge left. They gave Christian that title run, and then it was just taken away from him just like that. The crowd hated it, and they tried to flip it back. But what a weird time. That was just a weird time in wrestling. Mark Henry's Hall of Pain run from 2011 to 2013, including winning the title as well. And then the Path of the Warrior, which chronicles the Ultimate Warrior's career from 88 to his match at WrestleMania 12. So pretty cool. You get DLC showcase. Something I think would be cool now also.
I was going to say, very much forgot about DLC showcases.
That's got to be a lot to download. And maybe I don't think the game could handle that now. Like, okay, do you play often at all 2K25?
Yeah, I drop in and play a couple matches.
Do you have to put your damn birthday in every single time?
Oh yeah, I don't know if that's a console thing as well, but yeah, on Steam it always like you have to accept the terms and the
oh my god,
end user license agreement and all that stuff like almost every time. I don't know
it's
if
so
it's
frustrating.
if it's a
Half the
patch
time,
thing or
it's like, oh, you can't get into the servers right now, and I have to like restart Steam, restart. It's like, come on, can we fix this already?
Yeah, same thing happened with 24 and other previous editions of the game too. I don't know if it's a strictly Steam issue or if it also was happening on consoles as well.
Didn't happen on 24 on console. I'll say that.
All right, so then maybe it is something on PC.
Wild. I digress, as my friend Taz says. Let's talk about the career. This is the introduction of my career mode, and it is only available on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions. And it's the first since SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, where you create a wrestler and you progress through the Performance Center to WrestleMania. There's a story simulating 15 years in the future for a final match, which is crazy.
Damn.
I don't believe I played this version. I think I started it. I remember being at the Performance Center, but I don't remember ever going through it. But it does include branching storylines with decision-based outcome, a morality system where you're either a face or a heel, and a match rating system. I kind of remember it being like not as fun, like not enough cutscenes. It was just kind of a lot of matches, and there was nothing really like behind it. So you needed more. You know, every once in a while you'd be like, oh, hey, let's do this match with whoever.
Yeah, I do remember the decision-based outcomes. I like have very, very clear memories of that system and thinking that it was an interesting choice and something that would, in my head, I can't remember quite if this was my experience, but something like, oh, this will make me want to play through this more than once because then I can go back and try different storylines and see what else, either how the story progresses or maybe there's additional unlockables depending on what decisions you make. So I do remember that and thinking that it was very unique for the time.
Yeah, I just don't think it was what I wanted it to be, so I probably didn't do it much. And I know there was just like a lot going on in the menu of stuff you can do with moves and VC and all that, and I was just, I'll play Showcase and call it a day. Let's talk about the differences here on the PS3 and the 360 compared to the next-gen consoles. Who Got NXT replaces My Career, which focuses on 5 NXT stars: Adrian Neville, these are all funny to say, Bo Dallas, Corey Graves, Rusev, and Sami Zayn, and it includes the exclusive NXT Arrival Arena. So it's a little different. There's not really the full My Career. You just get those 5.
Yep.
And then there's Proving Ground, which is the successor to 2K14's Defeat the Streak. So players face John Cena in a 30-minute match. And pretty much this is what unlocks the Who Got NXT, but it's pretty much just a big gauntlet where you're just trying to beat John Cena and it's timed.
Yeah, but didn't they had that contest for 18, right? For 2K18 against AJ?
Yeah. Yep. So they like doing these towers and all that, but I mean, it's cool that they gave the previous generation something, I guess. I don't know.
It's cool.
Kind of like them having the island now, but we don't get the island on PC, right?
Yeah. It's the same different experiences for different consoles and all that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the greatest, features in a game, but it's something to make it different.
Yep, but let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about this roster here.
All right. Are you ready to talk about the roster for WWE 2K15, John? Because it's a big one.
It's a big one. It's also going to be nostalgia. So let's go.
All right. Well, kicking us off here, you've got Adrian Neville, Alberto Del Rio, Bad News Barrett, Batista, Big E, Big Show, Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Corey Graves, Curtis Axel, Damian Sandow, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, Fandango, Goldust, Jack Swagger, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, John Cena, Justin Gabriel, Kane, Kofi Kingston, Luke Harper, Mark Henry, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Rob Van Dam, Roman Reigns, R-Truth, Rusev, Ryback, Sami Zayn, Santino Marella, Seth Rollins, Sheamus, The Miz, Titus O'Neil, Triple H, Tyson Kidd, The Undertaker, and Xavier Woods.
And for your divas, you have AJ Lee, Brie Bella, Cameron, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Summer Rae, Tamina. Your legends, you have Booker T, Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, and Ultimate Warrior. And your retros, you have Del Rio 11, Batista 03, Jericho 02, Punk 2011-12, Daniel Bryan 12, Kane 02, and Orton 04. I'll do the DLC too. You've got Alberto Del Rio 11, Big Show 11, Christian, Daniel Bryan 11, Edge, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso 13 each, Kane 11, Mark Henry 11, Mark Henry Hall of Pain, is that what it was called? Hall of Pain?
Yep.
Randy Orton 11, Randy Orton Hall of Pain, Ryback 13, Sheamus 11, Sheamus Hall of Pain, The Great Khali, Paige, Emma, Hollywood Hogan, regular old Hulk Hogan, and JBL.
And then for your Legends DLC or Retro DLC, you have Andre the Giant, Bam Bam Bigelow, Colonel Mustafa, Diamond Dallas Page, Fit Finley, General Adnan, Honky Tonk Man, Hulk Hogan, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Lex Luger, Lord Steven Regal, Randy Savage, Rick Rude, Sergeant Slaughter, Sting 91, Sting 99, Ultimate Warrior 86 or 88 through 96, and The Undertaker 91.
I had to look up General Adnan and see how many games he's been in, and literally 15 and 16, that's it.
Okay.
Because who? I don't know. All right. That was a whole lot of I forgot this person was there. Like Ryback. He was clinging on for dear life at this point, probably.
This is a very, very
wow, he made it to 2016.
the roster's like all over the place though. You've got like a nice mix of everything. I will say, as is the state, I guess, of the time, the Divas roster is very, very small.
Yeah. Very.
Like, man, oh man.
And this was after they stopped having like 1 minute TV matches.
Yeah, it's just.
But if you think about it, we're getting Paige and Emma as DLC. You think back to that NXT match that they had. I think it main evented that pay-per-view or that special event. That was kind of the shift in women's wrestling for WWE. So that's shortly after this.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And then you get the Paige and the Becky. The Becky, the Bailey, and Sasha, and all that. So I don't know. I would love to see just the trajectory of that. But
very, very interesting.
Now the creative suite. The features that have been removed for the previous gen are Stories Designer, Creative Finisher, Custom Soundtracks. The Paint tool, but still available, was Create a Diva, Create a Championship, Create an Arena, Paint tool, and updated and modified features. Create a Superstar. You get 25 slots on the PS4 and the Xbox One, 50 slots on the PC after the first Steam update. Superstar heads are now fully editable in-game characters for the first time since Raw 2.
Wow.
And Superstar Studio replaces the Paint tool, which is allowing imported custom logos. So I didn't have to sit there with my circle and my NY and try to paint an Islander logo on.
Remember when that's how you
character.
used to have to make your icons in Call of Duty?
Oh my God, yeah. That's right.
People would post tutorial videos on how to make certain avatar icons.
I mean, I still remember doing it on the GameCube, trying to like paint Sting's paint, and it would just be like black lines.
It was that version of like a Create a Wrestler recipe, like how we used to go on message boards and be like, all right, you're gonna choose this head and this hair and this clothing, and now you've made AJ Styles in a game that he's not in.
Damn, I remember that. That's wild. Call of Duty. But your mobile version here, you have 10 playable superstars, only 3 match types, but you get full entrances and movesets, create a superstar, live multiplayer, and a career mode. Live multiplayer is a little wild for a phone.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting feature for sure.
WWE 2K15 mobile. Let's see what it looks like here. You know,
Some of the 2K
not
games
bad.
on the phone did not look bad at all.
Not bad at all, to be honest. I mean, we're on an iPhone now. So, or whatever, the Android. They're looking pretty damn close to the real thing here. I mean, I downloaded the new Fortnite on mobile yesterday. It took me forever to actually get the download to work. But when I loaded in, I was like, damn, this is just the PC version. Like, there's no difference here. Like, slight graphical differences, but
Yeah,
other than that, like, we've come a long way.
it's just you just got to get used to the on-screen controls, or you can put it in.
I got a backbone, baby.
Or you put it in the backbone. You just like playing on a controller.
Yeah. Now the artwork here, we got John Cena looking all strong and John Cena like on the cover here with they went a little different with the red and white in the background. I think it's pretty cool. This cover stands out because it is a little different than the other 2K covers at the time.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And you get your exclusive Hulkamania edition cover, which is Hulk Hogan pulling at that yellow shirt with a 2K15 nameplate necklace, which is pretty funny.
It's a very interesting little detail, like a nice little detail there.
Yeah, I'm wondering, judging by the picture, it does look like a new picture. Like, I think he went in studio for that. That's not like an actual old Hulk Hogan picture. He looks old.
I don't
That's
know.
what I'm trying to say. That's an old man's chin right there. The back cover, Big Bray Wyatt, feel it, all new My Career mode, introducing 2K Showcase, presentation overhaul, improved gameplay, and a creation suite. I think they kind of hit the nail on the head here. The showcase was cool, but the presentation overhaul was pretty sick. And the custom soundtrack, which we're going to get to the actual soundtrack in a little bit, curated by Mr. John Cena. 1080p output, by the way.
Yeah. This is in the where would you rank this back cover in the sense of setting expectations for a wrestling game? I mean, you've got the screenshots, you very much can clearly see that they're in a wrestling ring in an arena, but is it exciting and making you want to play as a wrestling game?
The Bray Wyatt picture's doing it. I think the Cena and the Orton pictures are not, because they're just the same picture from different perspectives. Would have been cool to get like an entrance pyro or another move or something. A move. There's no wrestling move.
I would say that's the thing that's standing out to me. It's a lot of,
maybe like an RKO or something.
Yeah, it's just still shots, like you were saying, of stare down between Cena and Orton. You've got Goldust making an entrance, and then you've got the render of Bray.
PS4 remote play available on the PSP, though. That's pretty cool.
That's very, very cool.
Now, how did we get to the era where all of a sudden back covers of games are just only half of the back cover, and then there's just so much text? Let's see. I got 2K18 here. It's the same thing. Honestly, the cover's not that different. It's got Sasha Banks just like Bray Wyatt.
I'll say that was definitely the style for a couple of years. That's why I was asking, because I know that we kind of touched on it last episode about the back cover. And I know that over the course of the last couple of years, we've always talked about, like, does the back cover set the stage of like getting you excited to play this wrestling game? So we didn't really talk about it in that context last episode. So I was like, oh, I'll ask John about this now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why we're digital now. Right? But the graphics themselves, I think everything looks great. The HUD now is a little different. You got the percentages on the bottom. And what I thought was cool is we're back to when taunts used to fill that finisher bar for you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one dream that I could hope they bring back one day. Otherwise, what's the point?
I do miss that. I do agree.
I miss that too.
I do miss it.
I think in this game, what leaves to be desired, the crowd is very repeated. And the championship belts are kind of small, and there's something about the faces of the wrestlers that are a little off. I don't know. They're just off.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but it's only certain wrestlers. I wouldn't say that it's everyone. It's just like in certain instances, there's just like, oh, that's a weird look for this person. And it's not even, it's almost, in certain cases, it almost feels like they're combining like two different generations. Like they're picking a render or a model of the head from a previous game and putting it on like a newer body. So there's like a weird mismatch happening. But yeah, there's something off, but I don't know if it's necessarily exactly that, but something, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was just cool to see the arenas looking as close to real as we've gotten. I mean, so far up to this point, like they didn't go backwards at all, which was awesome.
No?
And the NXT arena looks great. I always like doing like those small arenas like NXT just to see, you can see all the detail and it's like, oh, this was fresh and new-ish. And you got it. You got it all right there. But let's talk about this soundtrack curated by John Cena, because this thing is all over the place. You've got Wiz Khalifa featuring John Cena in 2 different songs. Didn't even know that was a thing, even back then. B.O.B. featuring Future. Rudimentals featuring Emily Sandre and Nas. Didn't know that was a thing. We Dem Boys by Wiz Khalifa, popular song. Cool that made it on there. Wild Ones by Flo Rida and Sia, which I think WWE completely overplayed for its existence, and I never want to hear it again. Knife Party, Big Schmo, Mystery Skulls, Royal Blood, and then the regular in-game soundtrack. You have This Means War by Avenged Sevenfold, Dizzy Rascal featuring Teddy Sky, Heart of a Warrior, Florida Georgia Line featuring Luke Bryan, This Is How We Roll. I don't know how that made it into a wrestling game. And then Rise Against with Zero Visibility.
It is.
What a soundtrack.
You're right. It is all over, but hey, it's a unique WWE soundtrack for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. But did you know? Did you know CM Punk's inclusion in the game caused legal issues before release, as Punk had walked out of the company by the time the game was released? However, 2K and Punk reached an agreement beforehand.
Did you know the PS4, Xbox One, and Windows versions of the game featured the same face and body scanning tech that was used for NBA 2K14 to ensure that the models look as close to their real-life counterparts as possible?
Did you know this game could be found on eBay anywhere between $8 and $15? Some of them are a little pricey. Or you can get this brand new. The Hulkamania edition goes for $300. There's one on here signed by Hulk Hogan for $900.
Wow.
And the base game could go new for up to $85.
Wow.
That $900 for a Hulk Hogan autograph is a little crazy when you could probably just send the game to Hogan's Beach Shop for like $50. But I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Let's talk about the pre-order bonuses, though, because this one
has had Johnny Clash all over it.
You know, through the course of this podcast, I always thought we covered this. But then I think back, we never covered this because it's this game. But in July of 2014, it was announced that Sting would be on the cover of the game. Not on the cover. He would just be the game's pre-order bonus as 2 playable characters. You get the Black and White Crow Sting, and you get the Surfer Sting. And in the history of the Sting episode we did, you see how that really progresses through the 2K games and how you get more and more versions of Sting as he's in more showcases and in more matches. And you get the Wolf Pack and all that. But I think these 2 right here, they came out swinging with the iconic versions, and it was pretty cool. But also on August 4th of that year, a collector's edition was announced. It was a premium packaging with Hulk Hogan on it. It came with a collectible card signed by Hogan, an exclusive Funko Hollywood Hulk Hogan vinyl figure, a piece of ring canvas from Hogan's appearance on Raw on March 10th of 2014, the 2 playable Hogan characters, which are NWO and modern day Hulk Hogan, and 2 playable Stings. And of course, you get the season pass, which includes all 3 2K Showcase storylines, the Accelerator, and exclusive access to Page.
Man,
the DLC Page.
That is that's like
What a combo. You get an autographed Hulk Hogan card, and that one was on eBay for $900 with the canvas piece, which is a pretty cool looking card, and a
Yeah.
Funko, and all the DLC. I miss physical pre-order bonuses, and I don't think we're ever going to get them again.
I think they're going to do the thing where they go away for a little bit, and then it's at a certain point they might come back. I think there were so many of them that it got to the point where maybe it wasn't as good as a return on investment as they had hoped that it would have been. So then maybe they stopped doing it, but who knows? They could come back.
A Funko's $10.
Well,
how much could that cost them?
I was going to say there are still other games that aren't WWE that do stuff like that.
We got our John Cena farewell Funko right here.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that. I ordered this in January. It finally showed up. I completely forgot about it. And all of a sudden I had a box for Funko on the steps. Like, what? I thought I sold all those. But here he is. So he hangs out with Bruce Campbell up there.
There you go.
But, I mean, I would love to just see something come back. So
yeah,
I guess we'll find out.
I'm with you there. I think that it's
a voucher for a T-shirt.
A cool
I'll take a
little extra pre-order bonus
logo.
or a deluxe edition bonus.
Yeah. All right. But I think we've talked a lot. It's time to now sit back and relax because it's time for some R&R, some ratings and reviews. Metacritic has this game at a 70% on the PC, 55 on the PS3, 62 on the PS4, 50 on the Xbox 360, and Xbox One with a 56, Eurogamer with a 3 out of 10, Game Informer 7 out of 10, Game Revolution with a 4 out of 5 stars on the next gen and 2 out of 5 stars on the previous, IGN with a 7 out of 10 on next gen, 5.9 out of 10 on the previous, PC Gamer gives us a 67, Game Watcher a 7.5, and Hardcore Gamer with a 3.5. Now, IGN gave the PS3 and the 360 versions a 5.9 out of 10, saying that 2K15 is like seeing Brock Lesnar going from breaking the Undertaker's streak to losing to Hornswoggle during the pre-show on back-to-back WrestleManias. And if that's a quote, that's a quote if I've ever heard one. Oof. Game Informer gives it a 7 out of 10, saying this version of 2K15 works if you're not planning on buying a new gen console anytime soon. Custom creators, on the other hand, might as well continue to build up their creations in 2K14. But as of August 2015, this game has shipped over 3 million copies, which is crazy.
That's not a low number of games being sold there, John.
I think by the time we got to 2K20, it was like 150 or something wild.
Man, 3 million copies.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, man.
Then again, people are playing on PS4 now. But with that, those are the ratings from the aggregators. It's time for the most important rating of them all. It's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, John. What are you going to give WWE 2K15? Are you going to give it a play it forever? Or a future endeavor?
This is a tough one because I did mention how a lot of it looked good. A lot of the animations were really cool. A lot of just like the little things like Bray Wyatt on the stage during his matches in his rocking chair. But I kind of hated playing the actual matches and it just made me want to play like 2K25 now. So I'm going to say future endeavor. It was too clunky. There was just too much stuff to get to stuff. Like I didn't want to chain wrestle for 7 minutes in the beginning of a match. When you think it's over, it pulls you back in. You're chain wrestling again. I want to like target an opponent and actually hit them with a move, not be in the left corner when they're in the right corner. So yeah, it's future endeavor. But George, what about you? Where do you stand?
I'm not far off from how you feel, but I think I am just over the line for the other side. I think that I'm going to give this a play it forever, but I agree with you. There are some things that are lacking. It's not a bad game, especially the PS4 experience, but yeah, it's just enough that I think it's worth going back and playing. This may not be the best wrestling game that I've ever played, but I did like it. I enjoyed it, and yeah, would go back and play this again. So
Okay.
a split decision here.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But with that, guys, let us know what you thought about this game somewhere on the internet at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. But next week, John, we announced all of the final episodes. So we're going to recap that right now. Next episode, it was announced we'll be playing Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag. This is a game that's been on the list for us to play for a very, very long time. It will be the final Fire Pro Wrestling game that we play on the pod.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a sentence.
That is certainly a sentence. But guys, as always, you can see all the video content that we are making and have made over at youtube.com/GameMarksPod. There are weekly playthrough videos, GMP 24, 64, and a whole lot more. Podexchange.shop for all of our exclusive merchandise. That is PODXCHANGE. That is the merchandise for this podcast as well as Going Postal. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for all of our shirt designs. And like I just mentioned, at GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And if you would like to help out the podcast, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And make sure to follow Johnny FN Clash on Twitch and all forms of social media, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. YouTube.
Hey, I'm only 3 away from 500 at this point on YouTube.
YouTube.com/Johnny Clash. But with that, John, do that thing.
Game over, Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.